Good day, and welcome to Shipping Insight 2020, a vision for the decade. We're delighted you could join us today, as are people joining us from around the global shipping community. I'm Carleen Lyden Walker. I'm the Chief Evolution Officer for Shipping Insight, and we've spent nearly a year making sure that you have a valuable and powerful and informative experience with us. We are delighted and very grateful to our partners, and it really is a true partnership in every sense of the word, and we want to thank them. Now, 2020, yes, it's the year, it's the decade, but it's also an iconic U.S. television news program that was anchored by Barbara Walters and Hugh Downs, and you might have an opportunity to see them later in the day. But I'm delighted now to welcome Angus Campbell, our conference chairman. Angus was appointed Director of Energy Products in 2016 at the Schulte Group to grow their business opportunities in gas and low-carbon energy projects. Prior to that, Angus was the Managing Director of BSM United Kingdom and brings his more than 40 years experience in shipping to that role. He's been with Denham Ship Management, Sea Train Lines, and senior positions at OSG, which is where I first met Angus. So please help me welcome Angus Campbell, our conference chairman.
Thank you very much, Carleen. Pleasure to be here, and welcome to Shipping Insight 2020. As we know, virtual this year, as we adjust and adapt to the new normal created by the pandemic, our industry faces significant change, some of which we've been discussing for several years. And as we look at the agenda for the next 3 days, it becomes clear that the time for discussing is ending and the time for decision is approaching quickly. Rather than delay change, the disruption caused by COVID-19 has accelerated movement towards a more sustainable future. Industries around the world are reacting to increased environmental regulation, customer expectation, and public demand for sustainability. The shipping industry should not expect to remain on the sidelines. We must learn to adapt. On a special note, we frequently talk at Shipping Insight conferences about the human factor. Shipping is dealing with one of the most severe and protracted humanitarian challenges that we have faced in recent times. Due to pandemic restrictions and confusion, our seafaring colleagues have been trapped at sea, unable to return home for excessive periods. Our seafarers ashore have been unable to embark on their next assignment and provide for their families. This has caused tragedy and hardship, which is still ongoing. Shipping companies and charterers are making every effort to carry out crew changes, but are frustrated by the complexity of ever-changing regulations. I am sure this issue will receive the airtime it deserves over the next few days, as we must not lose focus. We are debating fleet optimization. One of the key elements must be alert and motivated officers and crew. As over 90% of world trade is carried by ship, it is difficult to understand why seafarers are not accorded key worker status and travel priority. Will the hardship felt by seafarers this year make a seagoing career less attractive? By default, will this bring the prospect of autonomous deep-sea shipping closer? I don't know, but I'm sure those topics will come up again and again over the next 3 days. And looking at the running order for the vision of the decade, it could be summarized as the vision for change. How much change will be made through choice, and how much will be driven by regulation? Will the International Maritime Organization recapture the initiative on decarbonization, or will the steps already taken by the European Union force the pace? Based on the latest proposal by 14 governments to the IMO for a short-term emissions plan, one element is a carbon intensity index. asking the IMO to consider classifying each ship annually using a grading from A to E. Sounds a little bit like buying a new fridge. But in a competitive market, would you prefer to fix an A-rated ship or an E-rated ship? Given the sustainability targets set by major charterers, will they set minimum requirements? The outcome of discussions at the next MEPC meetings will be watched with considerable interest. Another recent development is the Sea Cargo Charter, with major charterers committing to a CO2 reduction and disclosure plan, and in their words, aligning global shipping with society's goals. I listened to an Economist sustainability interview with Bill Gates recently, when he called for a carbon tax equal to the green premium across all industries. Before the pandemic, this may have sounded unlikely, but in our emerging new normal, can it be discounted? Carbon pricing will become a fact of life for shipping. We are just waiting for the details. Two things are unlikely to change. Ships are expensive, and once delivered, are expected to operate for decades. How does a ship owner determine the best design and technology to future-proof a new asset or keep an existing asset competitive? Future fuels, propulsion, technology, and smart systems will feature strongly over the next few days, and the pathway to an efficient zero-carbon future is emerging from the mist. I look forward to the relevant and timely discussions that will happen over the next 3 days, and please ask questions. Put us all to the test. We have a lot to accomplish in the coming decade. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Angus. And thank you also for referencing the Mariner. Last week in our deep dive, Safety on the High Seas, there was a very robust discussion of the plight of the Mariner, the crisis that we're in, and offered some solutions as how we can work together as an industry to support that vital, vital component of our industry. Well, speaking of the industry, we're going to move into the state of the industry. And Dr. Arlie Sterling is going to share his insights on where we are and perhaps where we're going. Dr. Sterling is president and co-founder of Marsoft, and he leads the development and commercialization of Marsoft's decision support and risk management services for the maritime industry. Arlie has a Bachelor of Science from MIT. I have to ask you, Arlie, how often did you get to Wellesley? A master's from Northwestern, and a PhD in applied economics from the MIT Sloan School. Again, Arlie, how often did you get to Wellesley? Marsoft prepares clients for the lending and investment decisions that they face in this volatile and cyclical industry by signaling the key risks and structural changes and the potential impact of geopolitical instability. Currently, Marsoft is developing a platform aligned with the Poseidon Principles to report on the implications of climate change for earnings and values and how ship owners can best respond. So we look forward to hearing from Dr. Arlie Sterling of Marsoft on the state of the industry.